in room 2, Dalat room, and session today about enhancing employability. And welcome on the offline on-site at the Equatorial today, and also the online from Visum. And we have three sharing sessions today, which on the topic relevant about how to enhance the employability to connect between the industry and the university. Continue with the very first session this morning. We also discussed on how the school and the industry can work together and enhance the more sustainable collaboration. So today, this afternoon session, we have three sharing topics from our alumni. The first one will be Dr. Trần Thị Tuyết from La Trobe University alumni, and she now academic at RMIT. She will present online. So Ms. Tuyết, are you here? You can say hello.
Yes, I am here.
Okay, so good afternoon, Dr. Tuyết. And Dr. Tuyết will have a very short mentee interaction for warm up the afternoon session. So you can check your online connection, then we can have the very first interaction with you all to explore more about her topic. And then follow up will be the Dr. Nguyễn Thu Lệ Hằng, she Victoria University alumna, and now it has a liberal education. And she will present about promoting liberal education for university students and employability and career objective. So she is here and also our MC today, right? Thank you. And our last presenter will be Miss Phan Nguyễn Mai Trang. And she Griffith University alumna by the Ho Chi Minh City College of Economics, and her paper is about applying competency-based training and assessment in logistics training. So it's on three papers today, and I'm Linh Lê. I'm from RMIT University alumni, and I will facilitate the discussion today. I hear that you all have a lot of questions, and I myself as well. So I try to manage the time on time, then we have more time for discussion. So I would like to invite the very first presenter today, Dr. Tuyết from RMIT, to present the paper about career education, a big gap in education policy. So welcome, Dr. Tuyết.
Hey, thanks, Lynn. Thanks, everyone. Hello, everyone. It's my great honor today to present with you with the topic of career education. And let me share the screen. Now, to connect to the topic of employability, I can say that in Vietnam, I'm the very first person who researched into the topic of employability. But after I did my doctorate and then postdoctorate in that topic, I realized that employability is necessary, but it's not sufficient for any of us to find a job, let alone to achieve career fulfillment. So that's why I start reaching out to other factors. And at the moment, I start exploring two other factors, related factor, which is recruitment, one of the key functions in HR, and career education as well. So in today's section, I will briefly introduce or present with you the topic of career education, and the focus is on education policy. But I understand that the majority of you here who are listening to me now are not policy makers. So I'm going to try to make it more listener friendly by open up the floor at the end. So you can, if you have any question related to career orientation for just kids or for yourself, you can ask at the end. You know, why I turn to career education? Because career education is so important to prepare kids and also ourselves for the workforce, and also to help us to make informed decisions about our future career development. So that's why in many countries, Australia specifically, career education is integrated into the school curriculum since student earlier year at school. And it's also a prerequisite for them to explore the career route, and then find ways to approach and develop ways to achieve their career fulfillment. So it's about job satisfaction. So before we start, I really want to invite you to explore your job satisfactory by go to menti.com, and the code is on the screen, which is 38630212. You use that, you can get access to my file. So menti.com. So I leave this message on the screen so you can see the code, which is 38630212. Then you can get access to this one, and there's 3 questions. So the code is also on the screen, right? And the first question should be, oh, this one, it cover the code. Yes, the code is still there. So the menti.com and the code 38630212 is on the top. And we have 3 questions. Question number 1 is, are you satisfied with the job you are doing right now? So if it's yes, just tick on yes. If no, or if not sure, just say not sure. Pretty easy. Then we go to the second question, where I seek your explanation whether why you are satisfied and why not. If you are satisfied with your job, just put a letter A in bracket in front of your answer, and very briefly just use keywords, so we know why, what makes you satisfied, feel satisfied with your job. And if you are not satisfied, just put B and explain why, very briefly. Then the last one is really about job alignment, where I want to explore whether the job you are doing now is of your interest, a high income job, of your strengths, suitable with your personality, suitable with your and your family circumstance. I don't know whether Menti allow you to select multiple choices. If it does, you can select as many choices as you as relevant. If it doesn't, you just select the one that's most revealing the prominent reasons that to describe the job that you are doing. So I think we do have some, but I haven't got an answer for question number 2. The question number 1, I haven't got answer, isn't it? Some chart. So probably I tried it.
So we spent some time for this activity, and I typed the code in the chat box so the online attendant can log in, and also the offline attendant, you can log in on menti.com. The code again, I will speak the code out loud so you can come to menti.com, and the code is 38630212. So you can come blog and share your idea, then we can have more discussion later.
Yeah. We got 4 people answers and all satisfied with your job. It's so good news. It may be because you haven't got any other jobs to compare. Not sure. Start to have one person not sure whether you're satisfied or not. So wait for a few more seconds. One answer. First, suitable with your personality seems to be 2 answers. Why it doesn't pop up with the answer? Just say yes. It fits my strength and value. Also opportunity for high income. Fulfilling. That sounds really good. Seems like income is not the prerequisite factor for your satisfaction, right? Because the majority of you here seems to satisfy with your job. I got only 8 answers though, quite a few. Good boss, satisfied salary, good location, moving area, good career path. Great, yeah. Fit my strengths, suit my abilities and characteristics. Yes, fulfillment. Yes, sounds really good. Yep, and you can do the job of your strength, which is really good. Suitable with your personality, but high income to be the last option. Then it's quite interesting. Yep, so I got 6 answers. I got 9 answers for the first question. It's quite good. Everyone's satisfied with your job, which is beautiful. My chef and my college are very nice. My job make me happy always, and my salary is high. Seems like everyone here is a high achiever and got very good career path, which is really good. So probably I could just got for a 9 9 of you response, but overall it's very satisfying and it's really good. But I do not expect that all the kids, all people out there got the same job satisfaction level like you guys, because the majority of you are here. I believe that are quite have quite high locus of control as well. So let's me start. Like in this presentation, I will briefly discuss about review about career curriculum framework in Australia. Then I link it to career similar activity in Vietnam, and then at the end I provide some kind of comments and suggestions. And at the end it's open for Q&A. So in Australia, career education is managed in the state governments, and the slides that I share with you, the framework that I share with you is from the Victoria government. So it got 6 aspects from discover. The student can discover. So I discover, I explore, I focus, I plan, I design, and apply. So whatever stage there's 6 stages, but they aim to reach 3 goals, 3 key goals of career curriculum framework. The first one is self-development. So the kids need to understand themselves and give chances to explore themselves, and from understand themselves in terms of personality, strengths, weaknesses, aptitudes, and what they think, who they are. They start to, and what kind of job they like or they want to explore. They start to go into that direction and build their experience and achievement, and try to expand and develop their capabilities related to the area that they want to step into. Then after that, they got career exploration. It's not about explore themselves, but it's also explore about the world of work out there, to see what other opportunities are waiting for them, and reshape their learning and future options. And it can change all the times, and the same like us, we also got like input from different different areas of life, and we reshape and then we reframe our career. And at the end, when they come to year 11 and year 12, when they really need to select a career path, they need to select subject for VCE, it's come to career management. They need to make and adjust career action plans, what they need to do, what subject they need to choose, how to manage their life choices, and they change it, and own the transition. So those are the 3 goals going in the school life, but especially in high school from grade 7 to grade 12. Again, the aims, there's 4 key aims. The first one is that discover yourself. Students are aware factors impact on their career decisions and also career success, which include aptitude, interest, personality, personal agency, and discursive context. Even now, when I ask career practitioner in Vietnam, they just focus on some aspects of it, and rarely the case any of them focus on personal agency or discursive context. But then in here, our student was aware of all of those factors that impact on their career decision and career success. And then it's about career exploration. So they got information to get access to information about which job will suit them, the future career. They got the government also developed different job market information formally, and then they can form and reform their future prospect. So when they know who they are, what they want, what they good at, and then they know what kind of job that may suit them out there in the market. It enhances their, it empower them to make career decision themselves, not by anyone else out there, like parents or media or any people in the network. So who are the key stakeholders in career education in Australia? Normally, when we think of career education, we think about career practitioners. But at school in Australia, we find that leaders need to be part of it. So school leaders need to be there, and of course, career practitioners who in charge of career oriented activities, blended into different curricular programs, and they also need to understand the needs of students, teachers, and industry, and the broader community in order to understand, like, aware of different pathways for students to go. Like kids here, after year 12, they can take off 1 year just to observe the world and reshape their way of thinking, and then step into career, into specific aspect, or they may go to TAFE, or they may go to university. So there's different career path. The career practitioners and so on, so on, teachers also like understand that there's other impact factors, because learning of kids, of school, students is going beyond school life, and then they also try to bring in different employer engagement activities to make students be aware and start to be familiar with different industries, and then students also have different needs, and they need to explore that. So for example, in Victoria, all kids in year 7, they got a test called Morrisby, and then that test will test their ability, aptitudes, personality, and then at the end they take different tests. It's quantitative tests, and then the outcome will give them some options about different a career that may suit them, and then each of them got 15 minutes to sit with the career practitioners to explore their own needs, their own family problems, their own thoughts, different things, and then they talk with the career practitioners, and the career practitioner help them to reshape and start thinking about which direction they should go, and what kind of subject they should take for the university study. And in terms of the career practitioner, they need to obtain relevant qualification. So all of them got university degree, and then they need to have grad cert. Grad cert is what I'm teaching at the moment. I'm a course leader. So they need to study for 1 year, 4 subjects, and if they pass all the subjects, they are granted with the cert, and they can formally become a career practitioner at school. And of course, in the curricula, we stick with CCA's code, which is of a professional standard for Australian career practitioner development practitioners. They also need to understand or obtain competency and specialized competencies identified by CCAS. So what are those competencies? So core competency including career development theories, we deliver for them in the class. Labor market information, they need to get access to labor market information in order to have information to inform the students. They need to have good communication and interpersonal skills. They need to be aware of diversity and inclusion, and embrace diversity and inclusion as well. They also need specialized competency like career assessment. So there's a lot of career assessment tools which help the kids explore themselves, and also help the practitioners to base on, and then sit with the kids and help them to reshape their career path. They also need to have skill of career counseling, and can deliver program related to career orientations and different other things like employers liaisons skills. So start from there to talk about what it is about career education in Australia. Now we relate it to Vietnam. It's quite funny, like for a long time when I was at high school and up to the last, say, 10 years, there's no career education at school level. But recently, the government really understand that it's a big waste in human resource. We got very scarcity of resources, but we waste that because there's no specific career support and career-oriented activity, no serious activity going on, and students end up 60% of them enroll in business-related area, and firms when they enter Vietnam with FDI, they only can get access to low labor workforce. Whereas in specified and high-level workforce like IT, Intel come last decades, and they could not find even 10% of the required workforce. It's not there, and then kids just not really go into the trajectory that with the work that's the same at the level of their skills and of their interest. But the government now, I mean, either government or education ministry understand or realize the importance of it, and they start ask every school to take up the career education. It's so funny, like all school leaders and also the one in charge of that work, they don't know what to do and how to do it. And the reality is, normally the teachers who got less student enrolled in their subject are allocated to teach or be in charge of career education. So they just, because they can't have, I mean, they do have free time in their work and they do it, but they do not have formal training, and they do not really have any skills related to career education, and they also do not know what to do. So the reality now is that there's no specialized career practitioner at schools in Vietnam. I mean, in public school and some private school, the situation may be better. There's no formal training for those who take up the role of school career practitioners. No clear guidelines for them to follow. Like in Australia, we've got CCAS, very clear. And most of the time, teachers are still doing their work, teaching, and they also have to take in the work of career practitioners. So what kind of guidance the kids are having? For the long time, since the time I do research about employability, I talk with kids a lot because it's really about the gap between the world of work and the world of study, education. So there's so many stories about the gap and about the problem of career education. One of the example here, this one was sharing by a girl who's so good, who from gifted school, and she said that everyone told me that, oh, if you're good, you need to go to foreign trade university, and I did, and she was so proud. Everyone was proud, parents proud, but at the end she finished it with quite high distinction degree, but after a few years working in the firms, she said, I don't like it, and now she ended up working for child care, but it's for foreigners. So basically, she doesn't like it, and she doesn't know what kind of job suit her. So this one is media-oriented career orientation. Now, another case is from a good student in the Technology University, Vietnam National University. I talked to him, and he was a third year in that university. He said, oh, one more year I won't finish my university, and I give the degree to my parents. I don't like this job. I want to work with people. I don't really want to work with machine. So parents is really very strong at that point. One of my nephew, he's very good. He studied so well, and then he ended up enrolling in TAFE, like a college level, like học nghề. And then I said, why you end up in TAFE? Why don't you go to university? He said, the teacher who did the work of career education in my school said, oh, because your family circumstance is not good. So the way the teacher at school provide advice for kids, just the way like in Vietnam we got the verb say con sái ở chùa thì quét là đa. So basically it's just so uneducated way of providing advice. And then he ended up with that, and I feel so regret for him because I didn't know the situation earlier. Now recently, when my friends and relatives start knowing that I'm into that area of career education, they start reach out for help. And it's so funny. There's so many interesting story. Like said, okay, can you talk with my daughter because she's girl and she so good at foreign language. We always ask her to go to foreign language to be a teacher, but she just insists to learn to go to the technology university. And then I talk with the girl. She goes so amazing, and she know so clearly why she want to go into that area, and I'm so amazed by her own thoughts. So the kids that know they why and really want to go that way, the parent didn't know, and even in school teachers did worry for her and share that worry with the parents. And it's just like a mess in career education. Like people in we call that in education, in career education, call it like discursive content, really place negative impact on the career path of the kids. Like this is another example. It's just actually from my sister who's also joined this section. She just said that, oh, one of my like probably friends daughter just insists to go to study environment and then they really want them to study marketing or economics. And so Jesus, environment is very trendy, but the parents just didn't know that, oh, if she learned into that area, what kind of jobs can she do? So basically I feel a bit funny when I can see, like I talk with a lot of kids, they say, I'm so tired, I don't want to learn foreign language, I don't want to learn this and that, but my parents force me to learn. And parents in Vietnam, they are big investors. They are so generous in invest in so much money for the kids to learn extracurricular subject. And I ask, why you have spent such money on that? And there's numerous reasons. But one of this is okay for them to have better future or better jobs in the future. But I said, do you know what job would suit them? Do you know what job would make your kids happy? Normally they can't answer. So they are very generous investor, but in general they are not smart investors. However, recently I realized that the demands of seeking support, career orientation start to emerge. And it's going with that is that there's also private career counseling services, because parents do not trust the career service from school, and they start reach out to outside services. And such service booming. Last few years when I started, I'm thinking about doing research in that. So many people in touch with me, and it's so funny. And they charge a lot of money. They charge real money, but the quality of their services was not subject to any quality assurance criteria. And these private practitioners are not required to follow any professional standards. They do not need to have any relevant qualifications. Before this, I explored the website of some of the quite famous private career counseling service, and the only theory I could find in the website was Holland career theory, and that career is good, but it's quite old, and it's only investigate traits. So it's not, they do not know the whole thing, but no one can. No government body monitors the private service providers. So in short, Vietnamese young kids are at risk of career misleadings, because you can see still up to now, I still feel regret for my nephew when he stepped in học nghề ways, and he end up with the job that he doesn't really like up to now. So that's why the message I want to is, because this presentation is for policymakers. So I want to forward an urgent call for education policymakers in Vietnam to enhance career education from school level. It's also the way we can enhance workforce, quality workforce in Vietnam. And they also need to develop professional standards for career development practitioners, regardless they are in public school or private school or just private service outside. And they also can draw on lessons learned from Australia. So that's it. Thank you. Now is the time for Q&A. So I stop sharing.
So thank Dr. T for a very informative information. We can see like the student really easy to misunderstanding when we have to define which career we should choose. We get advice from parent, from practitioner, but we didn't have any specific standard for a career orientation.
Yep.
And also from brand, from peer pressure. you make me remember that when we have to express to go to every K-12 high school to talk with the student about how to define the job. And somehow I see like it's rather than the school promotion, university try to recruit students rather than the try information for the receiver.
That's right.
So yeah, I will open the floor now for a lot of questions we may have, and also welcome for the online participants to ask more questions on the chat box. I keep my eye on the chat box, so let's give question there. So attendant from this side, any questions, please welcome and ask question about career education in Vietnam.
And you also can ask me in Vietnamese language.
Um, uh, Good afternoon. So I have a question for you. So you already mentioned that the career consultants is very important. So could you give us the advice that at which stage, I mean the secondary school or in the high school, or I mean prior to the university. So at which stage, which is the best for the students to have the consultancy, such consultancy like that? Because as for me, to the best of my knowledge, and some high school, university, they are very ambiguous about the career, and I mean. The nature of that career, because I already saw that you mentioned in your presentation that some of the students that they like the business. They are advised by their parents that they should learn IT, but they like business. But maybe they have the wrong understanding about business or something about the nature. But so as I mean that students at high school, maybe they have the wrong understanding or they have the wrong direction regarding the nature of that career. So at which stage to your advice that that is the best for the students?
I mean, career education is start as early as possible, but it's not about career practitioner advice. So it need to integrate it into the curriculum. So it can start from very beginning, like even grade 3. You can start showing like, okay, you don't use gender stereotype, for example, and you can see engineer, doctors who are female, and then come to the school and talk. So it starts from very small things like that, and mingle or put the goal of work into the schools. But officially, in Australia, we start from year 9, formally from year 9. When kids can get access, they need to explore their strengths, weaknesses, aptitudes. That's why I got the questionnaire with you guys, whether the job is of your strengths, of your hobbies, suitable with your families, provide you with high income. So all of the different factors impact into the thought of what should be impact into that, and then the career practitioners come in from there, year 9, and then those are sent to the company, work for 1 week, and the company also need to pay money for them, not high, but $5 a day, just like that, just some tips for them, and they got access to labor market information. So yes, so that is the way they learn in a very natural way. And they understand it in a very natural ways, and they explore it. And evidence from Vietnam that kids now, some of them are very proactive. I don't mean that all of them. And they also know who they are. And even in here, we also empower the kids to make decisions themselves rather than us trying to force them to do. And we step outside, we just give them advice, suggestion, provide them with information, give them access, put them in the real world of work, and they got the real feeling, and they know, they develop the sense of which job they like, which direction they should go, and then that should be in a very natural way, and then possible. That is what I mean. Thank you.
Yeah, thank Dr. Tuyết. And the first question, and we also have one question on the chat box. It's about like the reaction of AI, and some jobs will be disappear soon. So how could
Yeah.
we advise the students to prepare for this trend, especially Vietnamese students? So Dr. Tick, please.
Yeah, so that is also part of the thing, like labor market information. They got a lot of report and information, and it's very interactive. It's not in the way like a big report with a lot of words. They got figures, they got things, and they got like East and Young. They got report, and they got very clear charts like which job after 30 years may disappear, which job cannot be replaced by robot. Kids can get access to that very easily. It's in the information. Of course, that is the effort of the whole country, the whole system, not just education, where they got the information from the labor market. And kids got that. And they also organize different chart from the industry partner who come and talk to them about the future of jobs. And also, like if they got a green economy, like these days in Australia, they really try to minimize the level of carbon dioxide and things like that. So they invite people in a new industry. They come to school, and because kids, they do not know such area, and they come and they talk and they introduce what the jobs that will open up soon in the industry, and kids also be aware of that. So all type information, it's the task of the school and the career practitioners to bring it in. And for parents, they need to know for their kids, like what are the factors impact in the kids' career path, and then they should be connectors rather than the decision maker, to connect their kids to the area, the possible ways for their kids to go in the future. Yeah.
Yeah, thank Dr. Tuyết. And maybe the time, so we start a little bit late, so maybe there are like for the one last question for this topic. Yeah.
Hello, good afternoon. Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. Hi, Tiết. Hope you realize me. I am Chị Hà,
Yes,
your former classmate in your university.
Oh, it's so nice to see you.
Yeah, long time no see. I have one question for you. As you might know that I have two girls who are 16 and 17 years old now. And to be honest, I am sometimes very headache about the how to choose their to help them to choose their right career path for them. And I am trying to balance between how to say I'm trying not to be dominant parent that tell them I will should do this, I will should do that. And unlike our generation before, we have very limited information about the career path. Nowadays they have a lot of source of information, but sometimes they still, how to say, talking about the career past, I think sometimes they just talk about moon and sky, not anything for specific. And so some question for you is that should I guide my children to follow the hot trend job, or they should follow what they like? And how to balance within their passionate and their ability, because sometimes they like this career but not sure they have ability to learn that career or not. So any advice for me?
Yeah, my advice, I share the same thing, because my daughter is 16, 17 now, and the same, even I myself got headache, and I really understand the situation. But we always start from what your kids like to do, what they think about the jobs, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are. I also think that the first thing you need to do probably is to find some career. I mean, in Vietnam, I don't know whether we have that career assessment tools to better understand your kids first. So you need to understand them. Where they are, who they are, what kind of thought they have. Because in the discursive context, I mean, kids now do not have just influence from parents. They got influence from so many other people, like peers at school, or someone in the network, or the teachers, or someone that they like. So explore and understand them first. So when you understand them, and then you know for sure that because they themselves also struggle, because they may have different thoughts about different ways and different jobs as well. So at that point, when you together with them, just be a supporter, explore with them different paths, and then once you have few options for them, or they have few options that they want to go for, if you could be a connector. So try to put them, for example, my daughter loves to be to learn design. So try to put them in, find a firm or some friends that you know in that area. And then if it's possible in the semester break or something, send them there, or do observe with them, do some real jobs, and they may not like it. I mean, even ourselves, we change all the time. But if they do like it, that is a good start, and then we can start talk about that, because career path is pretty hard. But then if they really like to do something and they really feel like they can do it, they got more power themselves to go for that, even if it's challenging. And then provide them with numerous, much information that you have about what job that is good for the future, what job can put you in a good position to earn more money, whatever. So whatever you like, but don't impose to the kids. Try to put them in a more like not subjective way, more objective way. They will listen to you more than just we say do this, do that. They never listen to us, even they know that we are reasonable. So probably yeah.
Okay, thank you, Tuyết. Hope we can discuss offline more.
Yeah, thank Dr.
Sure.
Tiff. I see there are a lot of questions. There's still one question in the chat box. We should save time for our next presenter. So am I on the time? So please answer the question in the chat box, Dr. Tiff. And we welcome the second presenter today. It's Dr. Nguyễn Thu Lệ Hằng, Victoria University alumni, and she head of Liberal Education Vietnam National University. So welcome with the topic promoting liberal education for university students, enhance employability and career perspective.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. While we wait for the slides, I want to give a brief introduction about myself. My name is Hằng. I'm from ULIS, it's University of Languages and International Studies under Vietnam National University in Hanoi. First of all, I would like to thank the symposium organizers for sponsoring my trip so that I can fly from Hanoi here and share with you about what we are doing at ULIS VNU. Okay, so the theme, the title of my presentation is Liberal Education for Employability and Career Prospects for Students. So my presentation mainly will have three parts. First of all, I will brief you through some important learning theories and educational approaches that we base on to design and deliver our new courses. And in the second part, I will give a brief introduction about these new courses at ULIS. In the third part and also the final part of my presentation, I will elaborate on what is the real mission or value of those new courses under liberal with spirit. All right, so we are living in a VUCA world. Okay, so every changes is of global scale, and we can feel the impact, very strong impact at a very fast pace of the changes right away. And especially COVID is coming back, and blended learning, as we all experience. Many of us here in this room are lecturers and teachers at I believe that in mostly tertiary education, but also I hope in other on our online participants, we may have teachers at other levels as well. So we still remember that time. But I believe that that's a bless in disguise, because we thought of blended learning for long, and thanks to COVID, it came so naturally, and now it's a trend. So whether we can make the change into the chance, that's our also the mission of educators. The colors doesn't look really nice. Okay, so when we talk about liberal education, in our context, our university is not a liberal arts university or college. We just we train teachers of languages, and also people who are language experts and use language for their jobs. But I think that the liberal spirit is what we aim at and we strive for, is because the mission of education is and should be the bridge that connects the inner world of each learner and the outer world, which is, the job market and within the global context. So if we don't do anything to maximize, to optimize the potentials and the strengths of our learners, that we haven't succeeded in this mission, right? We just focus on the outer world, preparing them for the outer world, but we forget about the rich inner world of each student. This is familiar of all of us, right? The 21st century skills, we've been talking about these skills and competencies a lot. But I'd like you to pay attention to the middle column and to creativity. Creativity. Because creativity and innovation is what will help us to cope with the changes. And that's also helping students approach complex challenges. That's what we need to prepare our students, our learners for, because the world is changing so fast. And so knowledge is getting outdated very fast, right? So we think that we can provide them with skills, all right. But more than that, it should be like competences, because it's values, it's skills, it's attitude, attributes as well, so that we can help them become a strong person to deal with the changes and the challenges outside. And this is the framework, the employability skills framework proposed by the Cambridge Universities in 2020. And I'd like you to pay attention to the component of emotional intelligence. Now it is officially in this framework, emotional intelligence, together with innovation and problem solving, creativity. Yeah. Now this. And this is a new approach in education. It's called human-centered education. We apply this based on the human-centered design approach by Stanford University Design School. So like when they design any new service or any new product, they will start with empathy of the users of that new product or service, because only by understanding the pains and gains of the user, they will be able to ideate and then prototype and then produce a service or product that meets the real demand, that help solve the real problem of the user. So we bring that into education. It's called human-centered education. And the picture of this is like the brain and the heart walking together, right? And exploring. So this is the way we view education. It's not just knowledge, but also emotions on the journey. Yep. And this is a very interesting research result, and I got to know about this after listening to a talk by Professor Chieu when he visited my university in September last year. So, according to this research, okay, everyone, right, when we were 5 years old, we were at the highest level of creativity, and we asked a lot of questions, and we laughed a lot. And somehow, we don't know the reason why, but just all the laughter, questions, creative, just go down, and reach the bottom when we are 44 years old. And after retirement, yeah, surprisingly, interestingly, these will increase again. Okay, so the message of this diagram that I would like to share with you is that inside each of us there is a child. Still, always, that there is a child inside each of us, and of course in each of our learner, of our student. So our mission is to let the child inside our learner, our student, to speak, to play, to laugh. Not just, pour everything into the head, but we need them to own their study, to own their education, yeah? And find joy, because only when they have fun they will learn effectively. Okay. Another theory is Bloom's taxonomy. Okay, so I believe that you all are aware of this. But my message here, our message here, is that we base on this to promote deep learning and co-creation by creating a learning environment in which the students don't only remember what we teach them and understand what we teach them and apply what we teach them, but they can apply higher order thinking skills when doing the assignments, when doing the activities that we assign them. Like they have to analyze, to synthesize, to evaluate, and to create. And by doing so, we give our students, our learners, the opportunities to contribute to the education, to their own learning. They own their learning, they are responsible for their learning, but they contribute also. So instead of waiting for teachers to be inspiring teachers, we help our students to become inspiring learners. And if they want to become inspiring learners, they need to bring something, right? They have to come with a rich resource, yeah? Fun things, interesting things to share and to contribute to the class. All right. And so those are the learning theories and educational approaches that we base on to design and deliver our new courses since 2019 up to now. So I'm going to give you a brief introduction about the courses, the new courses. So the first course is Innovative and Entrepreneurial Mindset. In Vietnamese, it says tư duy sáng tạo khởi nghiệp. So in this course, we train our students a very powerful tool, which is design thinking, right? The one that I mentioned about the human-centered design approach. Yes, design thinking. So we provide them with the tools, so that they can use design thinking to come up with an innovative project. Yeah? And these are some activities that we apply in the empathy stage. The second new course is Design Your Life. Thiết kế cuộc đời. Yeah, Design Your Life. And this is the picture of my class when the students were doing the final pitch of presenting the 3 versions of their future lives. And on this side is also another subject, a new subject is called visual thinking. And the students study visual thinking course. This is their assignment. They sketch note the whole course, Design Your Life course. Another new course is emotional intelligence and social communication. And this is the product of a group of students, of learners. Actually, they are ULIS teachers, because we run this course not only for students but also for ULIS teachers, VNU teachers, and also other provincial schools teachers as well. And we also deliver parts. A module. We have 3 modules in this course, so we deliver some modules in the format of talk shows to parents and to students at high schools as well, in Hanoi and outside Hanoi. So you can see the 3 modules of Chân quý hiện tại is the first one, the second one is thấu cảm kết nối, and the third one is hiểu sâu thương lớn. Yes, how to live a balanced life. The latest course is professional development and career ethics, which is a compulsory course for students who are doing teacher education. So in order to become teachers, they need to know about all these things. But the way we develop this course and deliver this course is different from, it's not a conventional lecture course like other. When we think about professional development and career ethics, we think of, regulations number, decree number, and all the policies and procedures. In order for you to be a good teacher, you have to follow your certain things. But we try to make this course as inspiring as possible, so that we want our students to become teachers. We want to inspire them to become teachers. We don't want to scare them with all the loads of work and with all the administrative protocols that they have to follow. And this is one session of this course. It's called guest speaker. So we invite inspiring and successful teachers to come and share with the students about their success stories. So like one way of inspiring the students. Another new subject, but this is only for the students of the we call the fast track program. I mean, chương trình chất lượng cao. Only one class every year, 25 students, like selected students. So this course is for them. It's called Innovative Education Project, and in this this is the pictures we took about 2-3 weeks ago, when the students could experience different activities. Like this is the Power Walk. If you are familiar with British Council Active Citizens and Social Enterprises, you know about the Power Walk activity, in which students put themselves in the role of another student having a certain problem or situation or stories, and and do the activity. So I'm coming to the third part of my presentation, which is, what is the main thing among these new courses, and what's the relation between these new courses with the approaches and learning theories that I mentioned in the first part. So the common thing of these new courses is the expected learning outcome. We want our students to have, strong personal development and strengthened inner power, like enhanced competencies, so that they can cope with the challenges and the changes in the future. And by helping our students to get to that point, we create an environment in which they can explore themselves first, go, search inside themselves and explore about their potentials, about their strengths, and also their weaknesses as well, okay? And use their history, their pre-experiences, and also bring their own life problems to the class and engage in the activities. And by doing so, we don't just want our students to be autonomous, to be responsible for their study, but we go further than that. We push them to become authentic learners, to become empowered learners, and to become inspiring learners. And finally, I would like to share with you the 3 keywords that I think that are the 3 lessons that my team and we withdrew from the time from since 2019 until now. The first keyword is space. And let me go back to this. Yes, space. The keyword space here, I mean that we need to create an environment in which creativity and innovation are fostered, in which deep learning and co-creation are facilitated. So by designing tasks and assignments so that our students can practice the high order thinking skills so that they will grow after doing these assignments. And so that's the first keyword is space. And the second keyword is moment. And I would like to use this diagram. Moment. We make, like as teachers, we consider by creating a space and an environment, like a safe environment for learning. In that safe environment, our learners can be the children themselves, inside themselves, activate the children inside themselves. And you know that children, they learn by making mistakes, right? So our students, as teachers, we let our students to try new things, to fail, and to correct, to modify, and grow. So it's a safe environment. And we consider each time when they make a mistake a moment of learning for them, and a moment of teaching for us, and a moment of practice within our professional community. So that's the second keyword, moment. And as in a book that I read recently, there's a interesting quote like, life is about taking the moment and making the best of it. So this is also the spirit we think of when we do the course Design Your Life. We don't aim that our students will be able to design a great life with great success and great wealth, but we make sure that they change their mindset and widen their perspectives so that they make the right moment now meaningful, in which they engage in that activity and they have energy from that activity. Engagement and energy will make a moment meaningful, so that when they have many meaningful moments, they are having a meaningful day and compile into a meaningful life, right? That's the second keyword, moment. And the third and the final keyword that I would like to share with you is emotion. As teachers and educators, we need to take care of our learners' emotions. Remember that we help them we enlighten them here, but also here. In Vietnamese, we have a phrase, khai trí và khai tâm, right? So emotions play an important role in our life. As I listened to a podcast recently by Chieu, he said a very interesting saying that science is what pushes us ahead. Like creativity and innovation, very important, pushing us ahead. But we need something like our anchor, and this is arts, emotions, because it relates to emotions. We need this anchor to balance, and balance will help us survive in this fast-changing world. So teaching is a science, but teaching should also be an art, because we deal with people, we deal with their emotions. We should not forget about that, should not ignore. So all sorts of emotions, but of course we should nurture positive emotions, making learning fun so that our learners be happy. So we hear of the terms like happy school recently a lot, right? Happy school, happy teachers will change the world. Happy learners, because when they are happy, when they have fun, they will learn. We just need to just give a little push, and they will go. Yep. And so I think that's the end about my sharing. And now I would like to answer any questions if you want to know more about what we are doing at ULIS VNU. Thank you.
Yeah, thank Dr. Hằng for a very inspiring sharing. When I listen about her sharing, I think I wonder that how university skill, curiosity, creativity, and joy. And then we hear a lot of sharing on how to nurture co-creation, to be more human-centric approach. So really thank for inspiring sharing, really inspiring. So I open the floor for the attendant and also the online attendant to ask a lot of questions for Dr. Hằng.
Thanks, Dr. Hằng, for a very informative and useful talks, and I find it very interesting. So my name is Thuy, and I'm working as a service provider of career guidance development. So what you are talking is very related to I'm working now. I've got a question for you about on the approach, the new course that you are bringing to the university education, which is absolutely very essential and important. However, when we talk about higher thinking, higher order thinking skill, but the fact that many of the students, because of the education in the high school, is not prepared them yet for the higher order thinking skill. So when they come into university and you apply this kind of course and skill with them, is there any difficulties, any challenges, and if any shocking, news, a shocking moment for the student themselves? Because I've got some experience with the student who, they study university as a high school student, and they met a lot of challenges in their work later that.
Thank you, Ms. Thuy, for your question. Yes, our students, many of them enter the universities and they remain being the high school. Right? They study university with the high schoolers mindset. Yeah, they study with the high schooler mindset. And we have, besides these new courses, we have courses already preparing for them the necessary skills like critical thinking. We have that critical thinking, and we have a course called, also a new course about 4 years old. I think that course is kỹ năng thành công bậc học đại học, like skills for tertiary education success. Yeah. So they have that course. So in that course, they learn about time management, they learn about negotiation, about teamwork, about communication, but through projects, so like a learning by doing things. Because skills, we cannot have a course that help them with the skills without themselves engaging in the activities and experiencing that. Okay, and also the new courses here, we also apply experiential learning and reflective learning, so that and as teachers, we need to accompany our students through the process. Yes, and of course, whenever they have problems, we are open, we are available for them to consult with us. And like whenever I give an assignment for my students, it's not just the product oriented. Okay, at the end of the semester, you submit the assignment, I give them a score, a mark. It's not like that. It's an ongoing process that we will go with them from selecting the theme, the topic, and selecting the format or the template. For example, the final pitch, which is the final assignment of the course, like emotional intelligence and social communication, or design your life, or even innovative and entrepreneurial mindset. We have the final pitch for them, but we help them from week 3. We need to work with them, like selecting materials, narrowing the topic, doing the empathy. Okay, report to me that how many people have you interviewed, and what are the tools that you use for the empathy stage, things like that. We go with them and modify with them so we can help them. If they haven't got the skills, they will acquire the skills by going through the process. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. We have in 1980. Oh, how can we say 2018? Since 2018, a group of 40 teachers from my university, we joined the program by VNU, and this program is bilateral cooperation between VNU and the Irish University of College Dublin, and that program is called the Innovative and Entrepreneurial Educator. So after that, a pool of 40 lecturers, teachers from my university, we joined together and we start a journey together. And especially after since 2020, the COVID-19, and we were given a chance to study a course on mindfulness. And our first instructor is Miss Ho Zai Le in Singapore National University. So since then, we formed a community of mindful living, and then together, after 2 years, we designed the course on emotional intelligence and social communication, in which we use mindfulness as a constant activity, which help our students to practice maybe 5 minutes per session, 10 minutes per session, but they can calm down and they can listen to themselves and identify their feelings and their emotions before we introduce to them theories of positive psychology about how to identify your emotions, how to manage your emotions, and like that. Yes.
Hello, my name is Phương. I really like the education program at your school because that's the way I following for many years at the corporate training field, almost the same. Yeah, I really like it. My question is, are they applicable for mass education? Because seemingly those programs would conflict with political ideology and curriculum imposed by political framework. So are they applicable for mass education or not?
Thank you, Mr. Phương. They are applicable for mass education. Our university is just a pioneer among VNU, but also within VNU we have seven universities under VNU, and in all the other member universities, they also do courses like Design Your Life or Innovative and Entrepreneurial. Myself, this word is so difficult to pronounce. They also run that course, but our university is the first university to run emotional intelligence and social communication. This is positive psychology. This is science-based. It has nothing to do with religion. Although we use mindfulness practice for the students, but it's not. It has nothing to do with religion. So we are safe. We're safe on that.
But they will become extracurricular for the main course for students at university.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Thank you for your question. For students of the teacher education program, emotional intelligence is a compulsory subject, and Design Your Life is selective. Is selective for them. And for students who study language and linguistics, innovative and entrepreneurial mindset is a compulsory subject. Emotional intelligence is elective, and Design Your Life also is elective. Yeah, yeah. So, some course is compulsory, some are elective. Yeah. Thank you.
I have a question for you. And hello everyone, my name is T. I'm a lecturer from the University of Economics. And as a lecturer, I found your presentation very interesting, very inspiring, because all of us want to make our class happier.
Yep.
And more interesting.
So
So that's why from your presentation I found like I can apply something from your presentation to my class in the future. And my question is, I have two. Actually, I've had two questions. The first question is about the transferable of your approach. Do you have any like TOT trainer or something like that? Because I would like to attend your trainer activities.
Yeah.
And the second question is about how could your approach apply to a very large class? Because in my university, the class is big.
Yeah.
Normally we have 60 students in that class. So how could you deal with a big class like that? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Miss Chi, right? Miss T, right? Thank you. Your first question about whether we do TOT, we do, because for example, the group who design your life course, there are only 4 or 5 members, but then we need to conduct a TOT and expand the network to 20 people. Like all the course on emotional intelligence, only 13 people as a core group, but we need to expand by doing TOT. We are happy to do TOT for you. If from your university you have requests, and our university will send people to do TOT for you, because actually we want to disseminate these practices, and we want other universities also do these courses with us, because together we are doing something meaningful for our generation, future generations, right? Second question is about class size. For course like innovative and entrepreneurial mindset, we have 50 to 60 students. Emotional intelligence, about 40 students. Yeah. Other courses, so all 40 to 50 students. We can do it. Yeah.
Hello, Mr. Hằng. Thank you for your interesting presentation. Further to your sharing, so I have some question for you.
Yeah.
Per what you have sharing, in your opinion, do you think if you are the decision maker, for example, the educational prime minister, so if do you think that in high school, instead of teaching the general subject like what we are doing now, which make our parents and students very exhausted on learning too many subjects, so high school should focus on like a career guidance, and help children to explore themselves, to see what they like, what their ability, and what really match to them. And the last question is that nowadays the job market is changing so fast globally, so self-studying is very important. So how to inspire students to be
lifelong learners?
Yes, self-study. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Miss Ha. Right, Miss Ha. Okay, my son is studying at UMS. This is the secondary school within our university. It's called ULIS Middle School. So we conduct several activities for not only the students but also the parents and the teachers. We have, but it's not in their curriculum yet, which is extra curriculum activities. Like instead of having a học phụ huynh, right, we will conduct a học phụ huynh in a new way. Like we connect the parents and the learners and the students in very fun activities, meaningful activities, that they can realize the importance of connection, true connection in the family, and the parents will, they know the importance of making their children happy, like, by not forcing them to study too much, right? And so also we introduce some components of the course Design Your Life to the high school. We have also the specialized high school called CNN in my ULIS. It's very famous in the north. So we also introduce, like, we integrate career orientation also in that Design Your Life, right? Components only, but not within the program. But I believe that these are the necessary things for the teachers, for the parents, and for the learners themselves. Is that all? Or you want to ask something else? How to inspire them to become lifelong learner. Okay, yes. In order to inspire our learners to become lifelong learners, we as teachers, we need to demonstrate that lifelong learners. So I often tell my students that, look, I'm old, right? I'm over 50 years old. I'm old, but I'm still learning. And I'm still doing things like I really like the picture of the happy child because I am going up. And people and colleagues at my university, they often joke to me that bây giờ em hiểu tại sao cô lại tăng động rồi, because you know I passed the 44 bottom, I'm going up. So like ourselves, we call the thân giáo. We demonstrate that those practices become a lifelong learner ourselves. And by whenever I design an activity or task for my students, I require them to read a lot, to listen a lot. For example, if I design a talk show format for them, I will ask them to role play thầy Minh Niệm, right? Or I ask them to role play Professor Chieu Nguyễn Thành, or translator, writer, artist Trịnh Lữ, so that they need to listen to their podcast and they need to read a lot to prepare for their assignments. So I hope I have answered your question.
Yeah, thank Dr. Ha. You inspire us a lot, and there are two questions come up in the chat box here, and also relevant to your question about how about at other level. It means not higher education, right? How about primary for the kids and high school, which really need that? And also, how about the other field? Rather not just your field, but how about the other? How to communicate? So there are two questions in the chat box from Hà Nguyễn and also Long Trần. We all want that, right? Happy teacher, happy student. So please tell us more about that. Thank you.
First of all, thank you for the questions. The first question is about other levels, right? Other levels. When I went to Australia to do my PhD, I brought my son with me, and he was 4 years old. And when we left Australia, he was 8 years old. And on this point, I would like to thank Australia so much for taking care of me and my son so kindly and so dearly, so that I can become the person I am today. So I went to my son's school and helped. Any of you went to your children's school and helped? Yes, thank you. You too, yes, great. It's a great experience because I have a certificate in TESOL, so that I'm allowed to help them with like checking the spelling and helping with the students doing their mathematics also. I can do that. I observe them and see how the teachers train values for the students. So for example, my son's teachers, there are 4 values in his school, like be safe, be kind, be respectful, and be willing to learn. And the teachers didn't, teach them, you should be kind, you should be safe, but they observe the students, the learners, and through all the daily activities and routines, they help the students realize those values. For example, Australia is a country where, a lot of immigrants, right? Today, a newcomer, right? And so you give your pen or the rubber to that new student, and the teacher immediately give you, this is good because you are kind. So I give you something, a token of appreciation because you are kind. Things like that. So I observe how the teachers educate the values to the students, and I believe that we can do all the stuff that I have introduced for other levels. Of course, when we work with primary school kids, we need to simplify, but I'm sure that all the kids, they know, they ask, at 5 years old, they ask a lot, and they are the most creative person throughout their life, right? So I'm sure that in our country as well, in many places in our countries, primary education, secondary education, and also high school education, we have been doing similar things, but at different levels of theories. I think so. But I know that our curriculum is fixed and is getting heavier and heavier, right? You agree? Because in the past, I remember I went to school only half a day. And how come now children go to school all day, and even in the evening, and all through weekends as well. I joke to them that we study just half the day, but we still became a person, right? A human being, but not half, like called nửa người nửa ngậm, right? How come now they study a lot? So, yeah, so overloaded, right? That we cannot. Sometimes we couldn't find a slot so that we can, insert all these interesting things and new things, inspiring things into the curriculum. But sometimes I was very lucky because I was the head of the fast track program ở chương trình chất lượng cao ở trường mình, running for 18 years, successful, a program successful, and in that program the teachers were empowered. We could choose whatever we want to teach. We were given such big freedom. We designed our new stuff. Yeah, fantastic. And the products of our program are great. Many of them now are working in other countries, successful in their fields. So I'm confirmed. We can confirm that, right? So like my son, don't do this, don't do that. But he said, I have to do this, don't do that.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Ha. So I know that there are a lot of questions on the floor, but then I really mind on the time. It's the right time, everyone. Dr. Hang will still around, so you can ask her in person. And please come back here.
Yeah, email me if you want. Email me if you want. Thank you so much.
So it's the right time, and please come back here at 3:15, and we have the last presentation on the room today. So it's 15-minute track, and see you later after the break. Thank you.
courses Oxford School offer us about CBTA, and this is very suitable for the topic today. Is about the employability enhancement. First of all, I would like to summarize my presentation. I will talk about three contents. The first is about the overview of CBTA, and the second I will share our two trials of the two short courses apply CBTA in logistics training, and at the end I will suggest some main ideas to apply CBTA in logistics training effectively. Yeah. First of all, we are a group of lecturers from XCE, Ho Chi Minh City College of Economics. We have attended the courses about CBTA since 2017. Until now, we have many courses in CBTA. And after courses offered by Oxford Schools, our skill improved. From the first very beginning, we know about CBTA. After that, we will apply it in the course. And after that, we will improve the course. And after that, we write the materials according to CBTA. And so I would like to share first about the overview. So what is CBTA? CBTA is an approach which is very suitable for vocational training because CBTA emphasizes on supplying the learners the competencies based on their job titles. And it's very suitable for vocational. So when we talk about competencies, we want to mention the competencies according 8 job titles. 8 job titles we will require the workers specific competencies. So the competencies will be about not about the knows, not knows how, not show, but does. They have to know how to do, and they have to do that with the specific knowledge, skills, and attitudes. So they will have been through the training from the one who have no experience. So that from the training, they will have be an expert in a job title, and they can have the basic competencies to do a job title. And we have also the job, very specific term in vocational training in CBTA is OS. It is occupational standards. It means we connect to job titles. So every majors we will have many job titles, and each job title we call it an OS, occupational standards. It's a standard for that job title, and under each job title or under each OS, they will include many OSS, many occupational skill standards that divide the jobs into many competencies, to many jobs that they have to do according to the job title. So each competency will include knowledge, skills, and attitudes. So for the learners to do a job title, they have to have all the competencies, OSS, including in the OS. So for you to understand more about the OS, I would like to introduce the APEC Transport and Logistics Occupational Standards. Here, the APEC countries, they have the standards for the logistics and transport for many job titles, including warehouse operator, warehouse supervisors, freight forwarder, supply chain manager, and logistic administrative officer. But I would like to choose one of the 5 OS to introduce you. It's about warehouse operator. It's the OS for the job title warehouse operator. And if you want to become a warehouse operator, you have to study, you have to do some specific core OSS. That means the main competencies you have to do the warehouse operator, the jobs of the warehouse operator. For example, the core OSS, the basic skills, basic competencies, including, for example, receive and store stock, pick and process orders. Besides the core OSS, we will have the elective OSS. If the core OSS is the basics, the fundamentals that you have to have the elective OSS based on each learner interest. They will choose. For example, if they are interested in the forklift, they can choose to study operate a forklift, or if they would like to study packaged good, they can study packaged good. It is also one OS I would like to introduce you, including the core OSS and the elective OSS. So when we design the course for the warehouse operator, we will include all the core OSS in our curriculum if you want to develop a full course of warehouse operator. But if we don't want to develop a full course, you can develop module. And you can choose one of the core OSS, or you can 2 or 3. It is a full set of skills. You can design a short course with a specific OSS in your short course. Yeah. And in my trial, I choose the OS warehouse. We choose the OS warehouse operator to design a short course. This trial we do with Oxford Skills courses. We are chosen between the colleges to be the one who apply CBTA in the trial one, and we choose OS warehouse operator. Among the OSS in the warehouse operator, we choose pick and process order competency, that the student have to pick up the orders and they will have to set the orders to send to the customers. And first, when we the first step is to design the course. And when we design the course, we will base completely on the OSS pick and process orders in the OS warehouse operator. And in designing this course, we have the first step. We have to analyze the knowledge, skills, and attitudes in the OSS. It is in the APEC standards. After we analyze it, we will have to decide what are the learning outcomes. The learning outcomes are taken out based mainly on the skills requirements. And after have the learning outcomes, we will design the content, the lessons, what the student have to study based on the learning outcomes. This is the designing step. After designing, we will have the training. I want to summarize the characteristic of training in CBTA in 3 words. The first one is practical, the second one is regular, and the third one is various. Practicals mean that because it is vocational training, so we have to put the student in practical situation, in practice as much as possible. Nearly all the time, they have to have the chance to do some jobs in practice in the enterprises or in the environment look like enterprises. For example, we will set up the practical environment by create an XCE simulated warehouse. We built a simulated warehouse in our school. In there, we will design the room like a warehouse, based on what we go to the enterprises and put on the design look like in the warehouse, in the real warehouse. And the student will study here. They will study here. So they study in the warehouse, and also they do the job in the warehouse, in our simulated warehouse. But of course, the simulated warehouse is not enough, because it's just simulated, and they're not various like in the real world. So we have to give them many study tools to many warehouses. And in the designing the study tool for them to get into the practice, we have to choose many different kinds of warehouses. Because if we just take them to one warehouse, they just used to that warehouse, and it's not good for their jobs after the course. So we have to choose different kinds of warehouse. For example, warehouse in e-commerce, and warehouse in somewhere for big load of cargo. So they will go there. And when they go there, they will have the observation of the warehouse, the real warehouse. And they was advised, they were introduced by the office, the staff right there in the warehouses. And even they can do the jobs right away at site at the warehouse. They can use on the tools there, and they can handle the cargo there in the real warehouse. That is practical. But if you in practical, but sometimes we just do sometimes it's not good. So we have to be regular. To be regular, we have to assess the student, in many activities, and so that we have designed the logbook, pick and process order. That is look like they will record the time that the student do the jobs. Every day they will do the jobs, and the lecturer will note down if they do well or not, what they should improve, and we will roll down in this logbook. And this logbook will follow them during the whole course, and realize how many times they do the jobs, and if they improve or not. It will record in the logbook. That means regular. We have to have them the regular activities. The third one in training is very important too, is the various. Because you see that in study, maybe it's just in one place, but in the real world, in the real warehouses, there are many things happen, many jobs. So we have to have them with various kind of things. For example, various equipment. So we have to offer them the big one, for example, the pallet jack here. We have to offer them the trolley, two-wheel trolley or three-stacker trolley, so that they can use different kind of equipment in the warehouse. But it's just but this here just happened in our simulated warehouse. And also the stock. You see the stock in the cargo in the real life. There are many types of cargo. For some small items in e-commerce or very big items. So we offer different kind of stock in our warehouse, so they can do the packaging or something like that with different kinds of stocks. And the second is the various activities, like the previous presentation. We can see that we have to make the student happy, so they can make a better result. So we also put them in various activities. So they find it's very interesting. They can not only do something like carrying cargo, but also they can discuss. And when they go to the enterprise, they can draw a mind map. Some various activities, so that they find very interesting here. And finally, we come to the assessment. For the assessment, I also have 3 words to describe the assessment in CBTA. The first one is thorough, the second one is individual, and the third one is competent or not competent. About the first one word, thorough, it means that in the skills, in the OSS, they require the learners many skills. So we have to offer all the skills offered in the OSS, so they can have the full competency in that job. So to be thoroughly assessment, we will have the performance checklist. In the checklist, we will have a lot of competencies that the students have to gain up to the course, and we will have to assess all the competencies, all. And you can hear after this, we will have many. They will list down a checklist of many competencies here. This is thorough. The second one is individual. For CBTA, we have to assess the student individual. So you can see that in this photo, this is the lecturer from the enterprises, and also the lecturers in our school. And they are in the process of assessing a student who go to the racks to pick up the cargo and process the others one by one. And we will observe them, we will follow them, and to see that if they can do the job or not. And if they cannot do finish job, they have to do again. So individual. And the last one is competent and not yet competent. Usually we are familiar with grading our students. For example, they have 7 marks, 8 marks. But in CBTA, because we have to do the job, so the rating is competent or not competent. That you can do or not, you cannot do. So we don't have the excellent or good or bad or rather something like that. They have to do up to the standards. If they can do up to the standard, they will competent, and not they have to be assessed again. But we don't make them feel very nervous, because if you try again, you can be competent. So during this session, also there's encouragement. during the assessment is also very important. This is the one that we are not familiar with, and also me am not familiar with, especially when we have big classes, for example, 40 students or 60 students. It's also difficult to assess like this, but in CBTA, in vocational training, we have to do that. So the problem is that we have to design how to do that, to follow the structure like this. Yeah. And this is the first trial. The second trial, we also have the short course, but it's a little bit different, because in the first course we just do one competency, that means one OSS. For the second trial, we do with the funding of AAGF, and we're very happy before they fund us for this short course, and we're very happy so that we improve our first trial from one OSS to two OSS, and it can make it a module in the complete course. A module is about the flow of goods in the warehouse from the time the cargo, the stock come into the warehouse and then they go out of the warehouse. That's why we choose the two OSS, receive and process the others. It will make a routine for in, out the warehouse. To do the somewhat like a full set of skills, we have to compare, because if we offer the two skills, we have to consider what is the common between the two. Because if it's there's common knowledge or common skill, we can reduce the time for the course. So we have to compare the two OSS, receive and store stock, and pick and process order, to find the common knowledge and common skills, so that we can reduce the time for training. For example, I just take one example. It's number 6 for the knowledge statement of OSS, receive and store stock. We have relevant OSS procedures and guidelines concerning the receiving and storing stock. And in OSS pick and process order, they also have the relevant OSS procedures and guidelines concerning picking and processing orders. Although there's two jobs, but the OSS is normally the same, the basic one in the warehouse. So we choose the first chapter is the overview of the stock flow in the warehouse, with the common knowledge that all the students working in the warehouse have to know is OSS in the warehouse in Unit 4. This is the common knowledge. Okay, and this is just one example of the common knowledge that the student have to gain among the two ones. After that, OSS will have the separate skills. So we will, based on every OSS, we will build lessons based on the two OSS. But when we we design the units, we have to put in our mind the flow of goods. So we want to design the units so that the student can see that the first step, the stock we receive and store stock and something, and after that, at the end of the flow, we will have the dispatch order, record stock level, complete documentation. So that you see, although there are two chapters, but the flow of work will continue since the stock is received until the stock is dispatched. Yeah, in Unit 5 until Unit 12. Yeah. And also when designing the CBTA approach, you can see that the name of the unit is a skill. It is a job. So this is also the competency. Before we used to design the course based on the knowledge mainly, but now we have to design the course based on the jobs, based on the tasks they have to do. So you can see all the units are the tasks that mentioned in the OSS. Chapter 2 is the OSS receive and store stock, and chapter 3 is pick and process orders. And one special thing about this course is that we carry out this course while we still not have just out of quarantine time of COVID. So it's very difficult to deliver offsite. So that we change a little bit and very flexible, that we do the theory online, and also we use in the practice, we also offer the student to go to the warehouse and we apply the warehouse, the online warehouse software. And we work with a software provider to provide us the online software so that we can also train the student online using the warehouse software but online. And I think it's very effective in the situation. And finally, I want to, based on what I have experienced in the two courses, I want to just emphasize the two main points for me is very important in CBTA. The first one is analysis and update of OS and OSS. You see that OS and OSS are very important. It's like a standard. So when you design on the course, the content, you have to base on the OS and the OSS. And the OS and the OS is based on the in the real world, on the enterprise. So, for example, we have to update, for example, warehouse operator. We have to update. For the APEC can update, and for the government, sorry, the government will update. But from the school point of view, they can also update. Sorry. We used to work with the enterprises. Sorry. We talk to them about the course. We work with them in the assessment. So that is the update. The second one, I think it's also very important, is practical environment enhancement. So every colleges, they have to design the real simulated environment in their college. For example, us, we build a simulated warehouse. Or you can build an office, like the office in the enterprises. Is the simulated environment. But simulated environment is not enough. You have to work very closely with the business, so that if it's the ideal environment is that you can send the students work and study in the enterprises. Or if you can invite some enterprises from some representative from the enterprises to go to your college and to help the student to gain the skills. It's also an approach to carry out. Yeah. I just mentioned some important points from the college point of view and what they can do. But of course, to make the CBTA more effective, we have to have many more approaches. For example, the government have to set up the standards, and also we already have the standards for many majors already. For example, in logistics, in tourism, and many. So, but they have to update. And after that, maybe the government can help us to have the connection with the enterprises, so that we can make the learning closer to the real world. That is my point of view in the suggestion for flexibility in logistic training. And this is the end of my presentation. It's just my experience. So if you have any questions, I can share from my own point of view and experience. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Mai Trang. I see a lot of efforts on implementing a lot of activity from simulation, software, and business engagement. I see a lot of effort. So we open the floor for questions and also online attendance as well. So if you have questions, just raise your hands, please. And please stand up when you say, and since we all can see your face, so please stand up, please.
So thank you for your sharing, and I do find that CBTA is absolutely inherent for the vocational training. But I see a lot of, as Mrs. say, a lot of resources are put in here, excluding the internal one, a facility you have to build a stimulate environment, and also external resource connect with build business engagement. So from your experience and your point of view, what is the feasibility of applying CBTA across the vocational training in Vietnam? Is it feasible? And how long it's going to be taken, and what results, what are the essential conditions in order for this to happen through your experience?
Thank you. In fact, the CBTA have been transferred and applied a long time ago in many countries, and we have been educated in CBTA from since 2017. Yeah, and many colleges now they are applying the CBTA, and we from our trials with Oxford Skills, we have gradually changed our course into CBTA more model. For example, for our colleges, our lecturers will design the subjects in our program based on CBTA. For example, I have the subject warehouse, about warehousing. I design it into the units, something like that, about the skill, what you have to do in the warehouse. For example, the unit 1 receive stock, something like that. Unit 2 record stock, something like that. I have designed already, and our lecturer also designed already. And many schools are in the they are doing this already. But what is that the assessment? I'm not familiar a little bit, so we have to think of the designing the assessment somewhat like CBTA, but still now because this is the regulations, so we have to rate for them 8 marks, 7 marks, something like that. But because it is the regulation, we can do that. We can do differently. But during our delivering the course, we can set up some tests, something like that, to test their competence. Not yet, okay or not okay in our midterm, something like a midterm. The final term we have to grade with the marks. This is my point. So other than the feasibility, I think it is now, in fact, already. And what we can do is that we have to improve the condition. Of course, everything has to be improved. So we have to be improved step by step so that the CBTA will become more effective. This is what we can do now. It's now in effect already, but we have to improve that. Well, and we have to improve that. We have to based on the efforts, not only from the colleges, but from the governments, and also with the help of the countries that have many experience in CBTAs for like Oxford Skills, and they still offer us the courses in CBTA. They still offer the CBTA courses. Yeah. So I think it's very feasible.
Sorry, but if I think how can I say, to build a simulated environment require a lot of financial resources. So for small school, yeah, like they want to apply CBTA, but they don't have the financial resources yet, because one occupation needs maybe different facilities. So according to you, will that be like, how can they manage that if they don't have the financial resources?
Yeah. In fact, we don't have to have big finance to build a warehouse, to build a simulated warehouse. For example, my college, the warehouse is not, of course, it cannot be as big as the real one, but just a room like this. Of course, in our finance condition, we just set up a small one. But the small one, which is set up like the real world, is also necessary, and also, I think in this situation, enough for them to gain some experience in the simulated warehouse. If you have finance, you can improve that in the big ones. If you don't have enough finance, you just set up a small area. And I think it is the design, the course, how to use that simulated warehouse is very important. Not about the finance, but the design, the warehouse, design, the course is very important. And after we have the finance, we improve the warehouse. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your question. And I just want to add on a little bit is that in higher education university, somehow competencies based on the knowledge. And in vocational training college, we spend a lot on skill. That's why simulation and also competency with business engagement is really essential on our activity and also assessment as well. So we move to the next question, right?
Hi. As you know that recently there are some emergent industries and job titles. So such as like in technology. So if you want to design vocational training for those new jobs in the market that is currently in high demand, but there's no standards that is built yet. So how do you do?
Yeah. I think there is in the development of society there will more new jobs, and I think one of the important role is about the government and about the somewhat like the organization. For example, in logistics we have the LIRC. It means the Logistic Industry Skills Committee. LIRC, reference committee. They will advise us about the changes in the logistic environment, and they will maybe when there's new jobs, they gather. They have meetings on the routine very often, and they just see about the logistic market. So what is news about the jobs? I think they will advise the government, and the government will have a group, somewhat like a group of teachers, to design the standards for that job title. And we are, our XCA, also the group of teachers have joined the process of designing the standards for the job titles already.
Is there any framework to create the standards?
The
framework. It's like, how do you create the standards? Is it based on the job descriptions or the usual, like the daily task of the jobs itself or something?
It is based on a lot of data. Because, for example, we go to the enterprises to interview or to observe their works in the real place, and they will collect the jobs, collect the data from that. Also, we can collect from many enterprises as possible, and we will somewhat like a full data, and then we analyze it, and after that we can check again. We set up the standards, and we invite the enterprises to come and advise us again, so that we can set up the standard, and the standard will be approved by a committee. Somewhat like a committee set up by the government, so that to assess if it's suitable or not. So it is very close to the enterprises if we do something like that, and we already do like that.
So how long does it take for a committee to approve one standard or one job title?
I think it will take time, because for set up a standard it will because we have just attended one stage that we design the standards about maybe, but this is already based on the APEC, because we have the APEC already, so it's faster. We based on the APEC, and then we take it back to the enterprises to check it again if it's suitable in Vietnam or not. So it's not take much time. We just have nearly half a year, something like that, and then we write and check. Not much like that, but maybe on the routine, the papers, something like that. But if there's a new one, I think it will take a long time if we don't have the standard already, in my opinion.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank for your question. I just want to add on a little bit, because the vocational training, education training college is managed by Ministry of Labor. And if we have the new program, for sure we have to get a very survey and connection from the industry, also the labor, and the student also study the program as well to see that how it's work for them. And we just feel like the minimum learning outcome for the new industry is the Ministry of Labor have that program and policy, so we can follow with guidance. And so it's really different from university with management, from education, Ministry of Education. Okay, thanks for your questions. And maybe we have the time for the last question.
Hello again. To be honest, I don't have any experiences on the logistics or any knowledge about that. So my question is very basic and very general question for you. Nowadays, vocational training is become very popular, and there's high demand on the job market on those kind of training. So my question is that who is the target learner for this vocational learner, and how do you describe in a simple way for the learner to imagine that what kind of job they can do in the future, and what is the target company for those learner in the future? Thank you.
Is that what you mean, that how to inform the young ones about vocational training? Is that your view?
They study this kind of training. So who is your target learner, and you should describe for them what kind of job they can do after they attend this course.
Yeah. Thank you. From my college, we have the somewhat like the recruitment team. We will go to the high school to have a talk to the student about the majors. And when we introduce them about the majors, about college, we will try this very simple way for them to understand. In this job, you have to do this and this, do that, and then this very potential, like what? For example, the e-commerce. And they just explain very simple for them to understand that when we do logistics, we will learn how to deliver a package to the customer to many routes. And I think it's in a simple way we will reach them more effectively than a very broad way. So I think the way we make the student understand is what we have to talk to them very simple and put them into many examples, for them to understand clearly the position. But I think when we introduced about the position in high school, I think it's a little bit late. It just make them interested in for a short time. So for example, so we have to do the somewhat like help the young ones understand about the jobs earlier. Not just at the end of the trail grade, and then we introduce them. There's some jobs like that, some jobs like this. Although they just think not very carefully about the jobs. So earlier, we have to introduce them on the jobs, on the things, something like that earlier. I think secondary school also suitable. Introduce them from secondary, and then high school they will understand more about the jobs, and they can choose the one that is more suitable for them. Yeah, in my opinion, like that. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for your question. It's really high demand for skillful workforce, but somehow we cannot choose the income of the students who are our students, because most of them go to the university. So there are a lot of things to do with vocational training education, but we will end up the session here. It's time to back to the main room. I just want to thank for Ms. Mai Trang for your presentation, Ms. Hằng for liberal education, and the very first presentation from Ms. Tuyết about education, career education. So thank you all for attending the session today, and we come back to the main room for the ending session today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.